Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and people. Welcome to episode 14 of MNW In A Nutshell, which in the Flashbang series is episode 7. Flashbang hosted on twitch.tv/Edward Bosco. This is for the show dated Sunday, the 3rd of October, 2021, Pacific Daylight Time. Your host for MNW In A Nutshell is MNW's resident statistician and bookkeeper from Victoria, Australia, Carla Bader. Without further ado, let's get into the event sequence of the show for Sunday, the 3rd of October, 2021, Pacific Daylight Time. First of all, we have an audio promo by one of our number one contenders for the world title, Johan Mjoln, who is a member of the Troll Train. And in this promo, Johan Mjoln says to look into his eyes. This is supposedly directed at Suicide Gemini. A Suicide Gemini pleads for his worthless life. All the remorse Johan had has died. All he has is hate inside. Suicide Gemini took his shot from him. But don't sleep on Johan just yet. Those who make the wrong decisions tend to have it blow up in their faces. Too long has Johan been denied and underestimated. He will prove that he is going to be the champion, even if it means he has to fight in the tournament. And then he notices his daughter, Presley, coughing. He says she needs some meds. And before he goes, though, he says that his wife, his spouse, Tigiri, fought furiously like always, but Kath Gina, the Fey Queen, just seemed to get the better of her in the end. Tigiri will come back from this, and she has plenty of chances to prove what Johan himself has seen. Johan says, "Believe in us, Flashbang, and the Troll Train will not disappoint." And then we have an InRing Promo. It is a response from roster member Suicide Gemini, who as I have stated before, has been causing a lot of trouble around the area and unexplained interruptions and interferences. As Johan was, I guess, fighting Nero for the title, Suicide Gemini interrupted and cost Johan the match. So that's where this feud is going. And in Suicide's in-ring promo, he says, not only could Johan not get the job done, Suicide Gemini had a gift wrapped for him. And now Johan's angry because it's Suicide's fault. Apparently, Blight Howless from Apex also wants in on the action. Blight's mad because Suicide tried to screw Nero Napier, which is our current world champion and has been for a year. Did Blight Howless not learn the first time? He's not the smartest. He says to clear the air, Suicide suggests a triple threat match between Johan, Blight and himself at Breakdown 7, which is our next pay-per-view. And for the public at home, that will be October the 31st American Canadian time. Actual time to be determined. But continuing with the promo, Suicide Gemini will show them what a real champion looks like. And then those two, when they are disposed of, Suicide Gemini will continue to make sure Nero Napier does not leave Breakdown 7 as world champion. Johan and Blight will have a few singles warm-up matches before then, and Suicide Gemini will be watching. And that is that promo. We then move into our 8-man showcase match. Usually, I will have their rank numbers from 1 to 8, but the reason they're all X's this time is because it's not elimination, so I made a mistake in my rules area. This match was actually 1 fall, and falls count to anywhere. Usually showcases are elimination falls count anywhere, but sometimes when I guess the show booker is setting it up, they might, click the wrong button and you get this. So, but it did not disappoint. This was a very long match, the longest match of the evening, or afternoon, I should say. And if not, maybe one of the longest showcase matches we've seen in history. We might need to check how long other showcase matches have been, but it's going to be an extremely strenuous process if we have to go through all our past broadcasts. So for now, we will assume this is the longest one. A lot of amazing action with characters. The Sandman of the Time Bandits, Matt Baker of APS, Zach DeWeaver, the Merchant of the Guild, DeLuna 13, the Lucha of Honor Bound, one of our mercenaries, Red Star Roman, the Prophet of Lady Nausea and member of Grand Equation, Lionel Matrix, and mercenary Aurelian Starhand. And then we have our last entrant, who was also our winner, the Brazilian Bull, Otoro Azul from AAA. And this showcase win means he has 2 showcase wins overall. Next up, we have an InRing promo from our current general manager. I'm not sure whether we should say official general manager. We had a suspended one. But here is our current general manager, Mr. Lawson. And he is here to talk about our interdimensional champion, Brawl Kaiser. He acknowledges that Brawl Kaiser is tired of being a punching bag for the cartel and looking for something different. He remembers Brawl once stood in this ring and challenged Kenny Omega to a match at MNW. And for anybody externally, Kenny Omega is a wrestler. Mr. Lawson says the brass took note and is interested in the interdimensional being side of things that we've seen in the past. The Marauder, Mr. X, Spawn, Sonic the Hedgehog, and also one he didn't mention, Lady Dimitrescu. But then we've never seen who Brawl Kaiser is about to face. He says to Brawl to come down to the ring and show the brass if he's worth it. His match is next, and if he wins this match, he may also have someone to fight at Breakdown 7. And in the words of Mr. Lawson, we go straight on to that match, the second match of the afternoon, a singles match between our interdimensional champion, Sentai Good Boy, Brawl Kaiser, versus another wrestler, Diamond Dallas Page. Now, being just a mathematician and a bookkeeper, I didn't know all these names. I had to do some research and see who the heck this guy was, because otherwise, how can I talk about him in this recap show? So yes, Diamond Dallas Page is a wrestler, and Brawl Kaiser, our interdimensional champion, won against him with a pinfall. Therefore, I think Brawl Kaiser will be getting an opponent at Breakdown on October the 31st. Next up, we have an in-ring promo from our resident yeehaw cowboy, Henry Colt. But something's not so yeehaw about him this time. He seems a little bit, depressed, not himself. So, as the promo explains, and I've got to flip over my notes page, here we go. Henry says he has had some time to think and reflect. Ever since Henry Colt's returned to Flashbang, besides on Multivania, it's been rough for him. He thought he was doing the right thing in helping out Matrix, giving him a shot after people were making assumptions about Matrix. But now it seems that Matrix has moved on, and this now leaves Henry Colt in the middle of nowhere. He thought he'd find his way back via a showcase, but he didn't do too well in that match. And then ever since Henry Colt has come back, he's had no direction whatsoever. Maybe the loss to Nero Napier has gotten to him more than it should. Henry Colt says he needs some time to figure it all out, and he'll see us all when he sees us. So long, partner. Take as long as you need, and we'll see you when you get back. And that leads us on to the next event of the afternoon, Sunday afternoon, I should say, a singles match between Joseph Cowman of Fabulous and Punkmaster Ghost of Spectre Sonata. They are accompanied by all their faction mates. And last week there was a match between House of Caliban's Thunderbolt and Vaporwave's Rico Rose, and the winner of that match was Thunderbolt. So I would say that the winner of this match gets to face Thunderbolt in a subsequent week. I'm not exactly sure if the winner of that next match will get to face Doom for the trios or it's just a showcase. But since Punkmaster Ghost has won this week, he will be facing Thunderbolt, or I think Spectre Sonata will be facing the whole House of Caliban trio in a subsequent week. We will, I guess, re-clarify the details on this week's Flashbang show. Without further ado, our next event is an in-ring promo from the Bulldog of Honor Bound, Grant Martin. And he is here to talk about mercenary Jackie Q, full name Jack the Questionable. Grant Martin says he didn't think Jack the Questionable, tongue-tied, could become any more obnoxious with those gold boots of him. Is Jack going to be wearing those gold boots all the time now? But Grant Martin is out here because Jackie Q has his attention. And Jackie Q is starting to piss him off. Grant makes a proposal. If Jackie Q likes to cheat for wins, how about Grant Martin versus Jackie Q at Breakdown 7, one final round? And the same as with Shere Khan and Kevin Blackwell, an extreme, no-holds-barred match. No excuses, no need to worry about run-ins and interruptions. And then, for a warm-up tonight, how about a tag team match? The gang Tooth and Claw getting back together against Jackie Q and Kevin Blackwell. We will see if they accept the challenge. I think they did. And then to the next event of the afternoon, we have a tournament match, our first world title tournament match of the afternoon. Cyber Controller of the Cyberbots up against former Apex member Wiley. And they are accompanied by Cyber Controller by faction mate Cool J Kyo and Wiley by the Chicken of Death of AAA, El Pollo de la Muerte. In this match, Wiley wins with a submission and goes on to round 2 of the tournament, which I hear will be triple threat matches. And I did a little bit of maths. In order for triple threat matches to work, you either have to have, 12, 18, 24, or 48 entrants in round 1. Anything that can be divisible by 6 or 3. But more for next time with the maths there. This is wrestling, so let's go on to the next event. We have another audio promo, which is this time from the Chicken of Death himself, El Pollo de la Muerte. And in this promo, he has to give Cyber Controller credit. El Pollo is man enough to admit when he is wrong, but he is not the only one wrong about that match. Supposedly from the previous week, El Pollo's heart, passions and emotions may be weaknesses, but it also opens him up for fear and pain. So does Cyber Controller not feel fear? El Pollo doesn't believe this. Cyber Controller may have had a poker face, but his body didn't lie in that match. The way he struggled and panicked during El Pollo's moves said it all. Cyber Controller can talk about cause and effect, but not about how El Pollo nearly making him tap had scared him. Fear can lead to doubt and mistakes, the difference between winning and losing. Cyber Controller's perfection and upgrades means nothing without the heart and passion to rise above his limitations. And then we have our next event, the 5th match of the afternoon, a singles match, which was the match promised earlier in the night by Suicide Gemini. Here we have our, robbed #1 contender of the Troll Train, Son of Thunder, Johan Mjoln, going up against Apex's Blight Howless, accompanied by their fellow faction members. In this match, Blight Howless won against Johan Mjoln with a pinfall. And then we have an in-ring promo by Mike Davis. For anybody of you who have caught MNW Warzone, there is a spoiler with Seth Jackson. Since this promo mentions it, I guess I can mention it anyway. Seth Jackson has been drafted to Warzone, so he is no longer in APS. And in Mike Davis's promo, so Mike is the leader of APS Arcane Protection Services on Flashbang, Mike is confirming Seth Jackson's draft to Warzone. He says APS will miss him, but it was a huge promotion and opportunity for Seth Jackson to go his own way. They've got nothing but love for Seth Jackson. APS now has an opening for another third member. Mike wishes JIF, which is the name of Seth Jackson's thing, the Jackson investigation firm, all the best. But now focusing solely on Flashbang. A reminder that APS was hired by the brass to make sure no arcane, weird magic shit happens. And they will be doubling down on this effort during the Halloween season. So no magic shit from anybody, or you might be caught, or I should say you will be caught. I'm starting to sound like Seth Jackson there. Next. Now we have our audio promo this week from the Grim Reaper, in which he says it was actually last week and the week before, as his promo was reinstated, he called out Nero Napier. But look who hopped out in front of him. It was Mr. Rabbit, like the leper he is. Rabbit paid for it by eating the Grim Reaper's tombstone 1, 2, 3. So now the Grim Reaper declares his tournament entrance one more. He wishes to enter the world title tournament, the winner getting to face Nero Napier at, I would say, Apocalypse. So fight the Grim Reaper at your own risk. Rest in peace. He is in great shape. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Soon the requiem of darkness shall follow. And that is followed up by a tag team match. It is that warm-up match that was mentioned earlier in the afternoon. Our reunion of Tooth and Claw, Shere Khan and Grant Martin going up against the heels, the mercenary Jack the Questionable and gladiator Kevin Blackwell, who has been quite an angry member of the roster for some time. Well, I don't know if anger got him the win, or I guess he's not angry because he won, but yes, Kevin Blackwell had pinned Shere Khan for that win of the warm-up match. Remember that Shere Khan and Kevin Blackwell, one-on-one, and Grant Martin and Jackie Q, one-on-one, will be going up against each other at Apocalypse for, I guess, their final statements, let's say. And then this takes us to the main event of Sunday afternoon Flashbang here on the 3rd of October Pacific Daylight Time. Another tournament match. This time it is Apollo Hades, the hotter-than-you leader of Vaporwave, going up against the Bone Warriors Spike, who we haven't seen for some time, as well as his faction member Burden. And Spike came into the ring with a new outfit, which unfortunately I wasn't able to grab a snippet of to fit into this page. But if you go to the YouTube archives in the production area, you will see it. And this has given Spike a win against Apollo. So Spike will be moving into round 2, the triple threat phase of the world title tournament. And now on to our mathematical summary of these shows. The length for the show on the 3rd of October 2021 Pacific Daylight Time is 2 hours, 15 minutes and 45 seconds. And if we move on to our segment summary, we had 7 matches, 8 promos in total, no backstage encounters. So this gives us our total event summary of 15. If we subtract 3 audio promos, that is a produced amount of 12 events. Thank you for catching the recap for the 3rd of October 2021 Pacific Daylight Time. While you are here, you have heard Breakdown 7 floating around in the works, in the speeches and stuff. That is happening on the 31st of October, so that's Halloween Day if you are in the Northern Hemisphere. If you are in the Southern Hemisphere, it could be very early in the morning or later in the day on the 1st of November. But what you need to know about this week is when to catch the show. It is called Friday Night Flashbang, but then Bosco's having all these acting classes that he needs to focus on, so until further notice, Flashbang is happening on America and Canada's Sundays. Normally you can catch it between 1 to 3 o'clock p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. He starts, maybe an hour or two later. And the channel you can catch that on is twitch.tv/Edward Bosco. But for MNW In A Nutshell, I have been your host, Carla Bader. Wherever you are in the world, have a great morning, afternoon, evening, and night. And thank you.